Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here in the Philippines. Today I'm going to be talking about a few laws in the Philippines that are just strange to me from my perspective as an American coming into this culture and into this society. It's just a few of them, but we'll get right into the content here in a sec. The first one is just here in Davao City. I'm not sure if it's in any other cities in the Philippines. I can tell you for sure it's not in certain places. I've been in Manila, but it deals with smoking. And it is completely illegal to smoke here in most parts of the city in public. Now they do have designated places that people can go smoke. I'm not a smoker, so this doesn't really affect me. But one day I was over at a mall called SM Ecolon City, and there was like this place that was cornered off, and there was all these people standing in what looked like a buggy return place. And I thought, well, maybe they're waiting for a bus or something, or they've been put in there by the guards for some sort of reason. But what it turned out is they corralled all these people in there because it was the only place that you had to smoke. So they were all standing right up against each other so that they could do that, which is, to me, just kind of crazy. There is no divorce in the Philippines. They do have a procedure where they can get annulments, which is not the same as a divorce. It's basically voiding the marriage and saying that for some technicality it was never legal to begin with, and thus it was never formed. But there's absolutely no divorce in the Philippines, and I'm only aware of one other country on the entire planet, being the Vatican, to where that's the case. All the places that I've traveled to, everything I've ever studied, this is a complete anomaly. And I think it is because of the heavy Catholic presence here. There's been a lot of stuff to try to change that in the Philippines. But to me, as somebody who I practiced divorce law as an attorney in the United States for over a decade, and I just find it so interesting to where a country doesn't have that. I'm not saying it's bad or good, I just find it very, very interesting. One law dealing with alcohol consumption, not consumption, but sales on election day here in the Philippines, and I think it's actually maybe the day before the elections as well, to where they're not allowed to serve or to sell alcohol. I had talked about this in one of the other videos. There are certain exceptions for like tourist areas, for foreigners, that it can be done, like in resort areas if they get a permit, but overall they're not allowed to sell or to serve alcohol on there. And that to me is so unusual, because elections in the United States, that's usually the day that most of us need a drink. Guys, if you like this content, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps the channel be pushed out there so other people can find it, who find this information interesting. If you don't, that's okay. If you want to find this again and you're not already, you can subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime to be a subscriber. It just makes sure that you get priority to get notifications when I do put out new content. In order to get married in the Philippines, a lady would have to be over 21, otherwise she would have to get parental consent. So in the United States, it varies by state to state where what that age is. But in my home state, the age of consent for marriage without a parent was 18 years old. So here, it's even older than that. It's 21, which in most of the Western countries that I've traveled to, they have that lower, at least the lower age rate of 18. But in the Philippines, it's still 21 to get that parental consent. And I'm not sure, I haven't been able to find it, if there's any sort of judicial override that would allow you to get married without that consent. So in the United States, we have that. So if the parents, say the people were 17 years old, they could make a case before a judge to say that they could override it and grant them the right to get married, even though they didn't get the parental consent. And I haven't been able to find that here in the Philippines. They may have that as well. If you know, leave a comment below and let me know what it is so that I can look it up. Traffic laws in some cases are uniform across the Philippines, but in other jurisdictions like cities and in provinces, they can pass other laws dealing with traffic ordinances and safety things. So one that I found out about from one of my family members was that there was a nearby city to where I lived in Dios, in Mindanao in the southern Philippines, and it is illegal to wear a helmet on a motorbike when traveling in that city. You have to actually take the helmet off, and you're not allowed to go around town with the helmet. And the reason for that is they want to be able to identify you. I assume it has something with terrorism and things like that, that they want to be able to capture people's faces on CCTV cameras and things. But to me, I can't imagine anywhere where they won't allow you to wear safety equipment that can save your life. So that's very surprising to me, especially because in many other parts of the Philippines, like here, if I'm not wearing my helmet when I'm riding my bike, the police officers can give me a fine because I'm not wearing that safety equipment, and it's mandated. So finding a place to where they won't actually allow you to wear that safety equipment, and again, this is not throughout the Philippines. Most of the Philippines requires the helmet, but in this one particular city at least, you aren't allowed to. Another thing that I've touched on in some of my older videos is what's called the CFO. And so when a Filipino citizen is leaving the country for the very first time for work, to be an overseas foreign worker, or they're going abroad to get married, they have to go and get a special permit and take classes before they can get a sticker issued in their passport and a certificate that shows they've completed all of those things so that they can be allowed to leave the country. Now, a lot of this is because a lot of countries that Filipinos go to are notorious for human trafficking, basically modern day slavery in some cases in these places. They abuse their workers when they get there. You can imagine where some of those countries are, but they are frequented by Filipinos getting jobs. And so the reason for this is to protect their citizens, in some cases just to make sure that the job that they're getting is legitimate, or that they're not going to some place to where they could end up being trafficked without any sort of secure plan or safety thing, and also to educate them. So that surprises me as an American. It did when I first got here, because we have the freedom to travel. Basically, there are very few reasons that the United States can stop you as a citizen from leaving your country. So when I go to other countries that do have things like this, I find that surprising. And here in the Philippines, they've got it down to a science as far as what they do. When I got married to my wife many years ago, and she was leaving to go get married to me in the United States, she had to go, well, she left with me, but she had to go to the class by herself to get that CFO sticker. And that's still, as far as I can tell, across the board, that they still have to do that. Now, there may be other reasons. If you know other reasons that they have to get stickers other than marriage or going abroad to work for the very first time, leave a comment below so that we can tell other people what those are as well. All right, guys, it is starting to get dusk. I don't think I've ever been to this park this late at night, but the mosquitoes are coming out in force, so I think I will leave rather than stick around and risking getting dengue or something worse. I'll see you guys in the next one.